Welcome back to Within Reason with Bob Kerrigan and Bill Rankin. This is Bob, I'm Bill. Last week on this show, Bob called Gulf Breeze a crappy little town. And there's been some pushback from that, both good and bad. Yeah. People called up angrily that Bob had disrespected the town of Gulf Breeze. There are some things we don't like about the town of Gulf Breeze. Well, actually, there's a lot of.
Well, you're the one that wants to boycott the whole town. I just said I didn't like it. You know, the police officers they don't do it now, but years ago they used to dress in black boots and stuff, and they were the whole idea was to intimidate the local people and stuff. But they're better now. Various other things. Yeah, they're better. And you call it a crap,
which I thought, you know, maybe it's a little over the line, but who is offended? I mean, it's not insulting anybody personally. It's pure opinion. If you're going to get upset about that, we'll give you a whole list of stuff you can get more upset about. But then we find out that apparently the city of Gulf Breeze has adopted it. And we have a picture. Look at this. This is good.
I know, this was so, I was so flattered when I saw it, and people were stopping, taking pictures of it when they were going through that little crappy town, and it was just so neat to see everybody's on the same page.
It's something that everybody will talk about, a crappy little town. Yeah. It's Gulf Breeze poking fun at itself, something they've never done in the past. No, it's a real breakthrough.
Yeah, they're
Gulf Breeze, a crappy little town, that's their motto.
They're a little aloof. Aloof there. Yeah, well, I'm proud of them, and I think it's a great tribute to the people over there. But I should say this with all respect to the folks that we've known over there. The city manager, Buzz Eddy, is a good guy. You send a public records request to them, they answer it immediately. They don't mess around and goof around with you like some public agencies do. So we ought to be fair about that. I can't say as much for some of the other people that are over there, but he is a stand-up guy. Now, do you want to know what's...
Oh, now. Yeah. So part of the discussion about Gulf Breeze last week and its labeling as a crappy little town had to do with the Great Gas Grab. And Bob has an update on the Great Gas Grab.
Well, we have some documents now, and here's kind of what we see. The history of this, by the way, we finally got the history of this, and it goes back to, wow, August of 2007. The people in Gulf Breeze contacted Energy Services of Pensacola, and they said they wanted to talk about providing gas to the beach. And then over the years, they've entered into various discussions about things, and they were talking about it. And I mean, it's for years, all right? And then the latest draft they had was in August 2010. And then Gulf Breeze shut the door and said, we're not talking to anybody about anything.
Now, the background is, this came out last week, is the beach is Escambia County. Gulf Breeze is Santa Rosa County. The beach is Escambia County. And Escambia County is granted an exclusive franchise to the city of Pensacola.
To the city of Pensacola. Well, to the Energy Services of Pensacola, that entity, that enterprise in the city. So,
which is a city enterprise.
City enterprise, exactly, owned by the city of Pensacola. So here we have a document dated the 23rd of November 2011 that purports to be a, quote, grant of authority. This grant of authority is signed by the executive director of the Santa Rosa Island Authority, Buck Lee, who is granting authority to the city of Gulf Breeze to install pipe on Santa Rosa Island, owned by Escambia County, or leased by Escambia County from the federal government.
Is it the Island Authority that's granting the authority?
Well, it's
who's granting the authority?
It's a little confusing. Let me read you the grant thing. It said that on January 6, 2011, the city made formal application for approval to install, operate, and maintain a natural gas utility system on Pensacola Beach, and noted therein that if granted such rights, the city would expend approximately $2 million in infrastructure improvements on Pensacola Beach.
But who's granting this to them?
Well, I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
And on January 12th, 6 days later, of course, there was no prior discussion. Okay. The Board of Authority approved.
Oh, the Board of the Authority.
Well,
that's the Santa Rosa Island Authority granted it to
approved the grant of such authority. This grant of authority is approved pursuant to and in furtherance of aforesaid approvals and authorizations conferred by the authority. Now, as we said before, we think, at least we're looking into this, that at least one person on the Santa Rosa Island Authority was an employee of the city of Gulf Breeze, we believe directly involved in this sort of gas operation business. Okay?
Could be a little conflict.
Well, we'll just see. And that person may have disqualified themselves from voting or recused themselves from voting. Anything's possible. We don't know, and we wouldn't disparage them without knowing more about that. But there was some potential conflicts. But the real issue that seemed to me to be quite interesting was that where are the Escambia County commissioners? What is going on? This Energy Services of Pensacola has an exclusive franchise in Escambia County, okay?
Yeah.
Well, they granted in May of 2012, just did it, a franchise agreement to allow the city of Gulf Breeze to put pipe on Santa Rosa Island to provide non-exclusive gas service. That's what the document says.
Ridiculous.
That is so you've granted an exclusive franchise. At least that's what we think.
Does that kind of anticipate parallel pipes? We got gas service A and gas service B.
I can't imagine once you
public
put a pipe
utility
out
with
there,
competition.
and you spend millions of dollars, and the Escambia County didn't know a darn thing about it apparently. And then they said, well, yeah, but it's really going to benefit us, and so let's all work it out and let's talk and let's chit chat. And it's sort of like we said last week. Well, we'll do it and apologize later. But in fairness to everybody, even though they have been discussing this for 4 years about how they were all going to work it out because they're good neighbors, Gulf Breeze is a good neighbor of Pensacola, and they were just talking about it, and they were working things out, and then they went and cut the deal with the Santa Rosa Island Authority and laid the pipe and spent some money on pipe. And where did the money come from? Came from FEMA. Now, the documents they have produced, they say, purport to be an approval by FEMA to lay this pipe out there. But FEMA doesn't have the authority to tell them where they can put pipe. They have authority to say you can buy the pipe with it. So
here comes the national government again.
Yeah, well, and indeed.
Being involved in
well, the FEMA money is
gas
what did
pipe,
this.
right.
Well, the FEMA money is what comes. So here's where we are. And we're genuinely interested in anybody that has an enlightening view about this. But the question is this is copied, by the way, to Vernon Prather, Director of Public Services, and Steve Milford, Director of Finance. I want to know if either one of those people, I don't know if they do or not, have anything to do with the Santa Rosa Island Authority. So that would be interesting to know that. And then also, if we don't have the facts right or the timing right, let us know. But the history that we've discovered is that this thing was just cruising right along until ESP was not getting their calls returned. And they saw an article in the paper that in November 2011, they cut their own deal to put the gas pipe out there. Now, here's the point we made last week, which I think is also accurate. I welcome any comments to the contrary. That is that they will jack the price up of the gas just like they're doing to people outside the city of Gulf Breeze. That's their plan. Yeah. To our residents on Escambia County property on Santa Rosa Island, and technically it's leased from the federal government, but it's part of Escambia County, okay? Leased from the federal government, and the rates will go up to people on Santa Rosa Island.
Well, I had Diane Mack on this show some time ago, and she eventually kind of had to admit that the whole gas company was kind of a taxing authority. I mean, they buy gas, and the price of gas has gone down, and the price paid by consumers has gone up. Natural gas is really cheap, so they buy the natural gas. Then, of course, they got all the people and all the machinery that delivers the natural gas, and they're accounting. And then they've got a lot of profit. The city, as we've said here many times, an amount equal to all the ad valorem taxes raised by the city goes directly to the pensions. So how does the city function? Well, they've got these enterprises. One of them is the gas utility.
Yeah, they have enterprises.
So they make enough of a profit, if that's a proper name for a city, on providing this gas to its customers that they use it to fund.
I don't know what the final annual number is, but it's somewhere around, I think, 10 million plus or minus that comes from the gas company. So it's a very profitable thing, and it's very important to the city.
They set the rates.
Very important to the city of Pensacola to have this gas company franchise protected. And it's not being protected. And I don't understand if this is right. Again, we're still trying to figure it out. How you can grant a non-exclusive franchise for gas after the fact, after the pipes are already in the ground, when you've granted an exclusive franchise to somebody else. which is Energy Services of Pensacola, which is within Escambia County. So how did this sweetheart love affair relationship with Gulf Breeze, who cranked that up, and why in the world, for a little town like that, why would you want to have that kind of relationship with them? I don't understand that. I really don't.
Like a lot of things. First of all, we kind of see a lawsuit brewing in this.
Oh, it's coming.
Which will be interesting because we might be able to figure it out. It might all make sense when we know who's getting the money. And there's no doubt a lot of money to be made in this business.
There is.
And somebody's going to make some money
Well, and let's just assume that it's the city of Gulf Breeze and no individuals or whatever.
Well, that's possible.
Yeah, it is entirely possible. But listen, if somebody's going to make some money with it, why don't we keep that in Pensacola where we need the money? Why are we giving this away? I'm hoping the city of Pensacola will say, listen, you did this? You did this to us when we've been negotiating for 3 years trying to come up with something, and you still wouldn't do it, and you still wouldn't do it, and you cut your own deal? You laid pipes on property that Escambia County controls? We need to get to the bottom of this. Who's involved? How did it happen? How did it get approved?
And why aren't the Escambia County commissioners telling their appointees on the Island Authority, don't be giving this authority away that we've already given exclusively? What's going on there?
They went and passed a resolution of this non-exclusive franchise. I don't know how in the world that happened. How did that happen? Why isn't somebody saying, what is going on here? Okay, there's so much money involved and so much potential revenue for these governmental agencies. Why are we giving it to Gulf Breeze? I mean, what do we get from Gulf Breeze? We get red light cameras,
tickets,
obstruction of traffic all summer long. I mean, they won't turn those lights in a way that allow more traffic to move through that little place. They won't do it. They want to keep the red lights operating so grandma can cross the road to go over to the supermarket in the middle of the summer traffic. I mean, they've been obstructing. They've been had an obstructionist attitude there. It's our little town. We're going to do what you want. If you want to go to the beach, you got to come through our little town. Well, they certainly haven't come and said, now, how can we all work together to affect a more orderly flow of traffic to the beach in the summer? If they have done it, I don't know. I don't think they have, okay? That's my... And I really like Gulf Breeze.
Really?
Oh, yeah, I like it.
Could you give us a list of things you like? Because so far you've been a tad negative.
Well, I like Gulf Breeze because it reminds me of the Midwest. You know why? No. They're cities in decay all through the Midwest. Mm-hmm. But Gulf Breeze is decaying, but not as bad as the cities in the Midwest. So it's encouraging to see that. It's not as bad.
That doesn't make any sense at all.
It doesn't? Well, it does to me. It does to me.
You like it because it's decaying, although it could decay faster. That's your position. Okay.
It didn't come out exactly what I was thinking about.
It's okay. And just because I don't understand something, there are a lot of important things that I don't understand. It doesn't mean they're wrong.
Well,
you know?
Yeah. I didn't say it exactly the way I wanted to say it. But last time I was in Michigan, it was so sad. Like I was in Highland Park. That's where I was born. You know, in Highland Park, it's completely gone. It's just it looks like a war zone. It's terrible. And then the small towns around Detroit, so many of them are just awful, deteriorating.
Democrats, unions. That's what you get. Dystopia. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. Well, we had Romney as a governor. Okay.
Yeah, that's been a long time ago. Yeah. He's been dead for quite a while.
Yeah, well, it started decaying about that time, and it got worse. But my point was, when I go to the Gulf Breeze and I see the little shops falling apart and stuff over there, and there's not much going on, it just reminds me of a kind of a Midwest city. Yeah, but it's not decaying as fast. I feel good about that. I do. And can we have our sign again? Can we see the sign? Because it's a one final... You know, we want to say thank you to... Before they get an injunction, we want to put the sign up again. Well, there's the sign. It's a nice little town, and I think they're proud of that. Hey, you know, it's like, you want to call me that? We'll put it on our sign. Yeah, that's good. That's pretty cool. You kind of adopt it. It shows a refreshing lightheartedness that we haven't seen enough of from that crappy little town. They can take a joke, and it's encouraging. Do you have anything else you want to leave us with tonight? We only have a couple of minutes. Let me make a point. In the clerk's race, it came out. Oh yeah. That Ernie Lee McGahey is double dipping, and people don't like double dipping. Well, the truth is that if his opponent gets elected, and I'm not advocating for either one, if his opponent gets elected, it'll actually cost the taxpayers more. He's going to get his
retirement pay. That's fixed. That's done.
He earned that.
He earned it. It's over.
Yep.
The new office holder is not coming in at a lower salary. Those salaries are fixed. That person will come in at the same salary. But on behalf of that person who's coming in at the same salary, there'll be retirement money put away, and that's not the case for Ernie because he's done.
He's done. And so actually,
the idea he's getting too much money and we're going to vote for his opponent so the taxpayers aren't paying enough, that's wrong.
And the double dipping argument really is misconstrued by most people because they say, well, you're double dipping. No, they're drawing their retirement early, but then they get to keep their salary as if they're working, but it doesn't go towards their retirement. So they get both, but they've earned their retirement, and he has, and some other public officials have too. Yeah. Where it went off the track, because, see, that salary is fixed by law, as Bill said, just like judges' salaries are fixed by law. Where it went off the track, and badly off the track, was the city of Pensacola, who had 85 different employees, went through the drop program, and instead of being replaced by people at a lower level where you really save some money, they came
back at the same pay.
Came back in at their top pay, and the city of Pensacola allowed it, these council people allowed it to go on for years here, and again was a contributing factor to the economic problems of the city of Pensacola. 85 people went through that program that way.
A nickname for Pensacola coming?
I got another nickname, but I'm trying to be more supportive of Pensacola. Good. Compared to Gulf Breeze, especially now. Yeah. Okay.
Well, we like Pensacola better, which isn't actionable. You can't file a lawsuit about that. We like Pensacola better.
It's our prosperous new city with great hope, as opposed to our neighbors across the bridge who have none.
Our prosperous new city with great hope is going to go broke as a result of a successful baseball team. Well, which is for another program.
That's for another program, and we'll talk about what's going on at the ballpark and the refreshments and other things that Mr. Rankin has opined about. We're about out of time, are we not? How much time we got here? We wrapping it up? All right, we're wrapping it up. Thank you very much for watching tonight. We'll see you next week.
Good night.